Thank you for introducing me. Yes, my name is Alexandra Azimov. I'm a network architect of Qrator Labs, and I would like to discuss with you our vision on expanding the BGP protocol. And so, shall we start? Speaking about the BGP, it is a very simple, basic protocol, like 10 attributes, settings. Why do we love it so much? It gives us flexibility to reflect any connections between the systems globally. But this flexibility is not by chance, it's not from nothing. It is based on hundreds of documents, and the protocol, BGP protocol, is expandable. So we expect more and more extensions. And we have been waiting for many for a long time, like BGPC, but we are not losing any hope. But does any of you believe that a novice can quickly get into the subject? In my view, it is impossible. On the other hand, raising your first BGP session is very simple. It's enough to have those 4 lines, and it will work, and it will work correctly without creating troubles to this very novice and other guys. And this is the issue, because the expectations of the new people do not actually reflect the reality at all, and it causes issues. As soon such a novice will raise another BGP session with the second supplier, he will just take and copy the first BGP configuration to the second session, and it will go up, and he will create what is a round link when the announce from one supplier or operator would be announced to another one. And how will it impact the others? It will impact the most. His network will be down, and he will draw our prefixes. Our networks will be unavailable. Clients will be unavailable. So, and since that moment, the new guy troubles will be our troubles, and we are not ready. This is the statistics on route leaks with unique prefixes monthly that happen monthly. You can see that every month, dozens of thousands of prefixes are in route leaks. Most probably, you have been there more than once. Yours have been there. And most of the operators cannot diagnose this, and they look for a problem and call the clients. We have delays, and it's unavailable. Route leak is a very short incident. While they are studying, it will disappear, and they will never find it, but it will come back. It will not disappear forever. So then the question, who is to blame? What is there to do? From the thousands of autonomous systems that are permanent source of route leaks, over half are novices, new people, that appeared over the last 5 years. And speaking about the autonomous, well, the number went up by 50%, over 30,000 now, today over 50,000. So from 30 to 50, and there are no indicator that this growth will stop, because the number of operators will grow up, the novices, the errors, and the number will just skyrocket. And just to increase the drama, imagine yourself on the road. You're at the wheel, and there are other cars as well beside you, and none of them definitely are the first-minute drivers. They have never got any driver's licenses. They never studied to learn to drive. And so how can we do it? First, regulation. We can introduce BGP exams, fines. We can just withdraw your driver's license. But I hope that the technical community will actually be able to stop, the legislators are coming with their rules. But then the second is a new protocol. So there have been many protocols, BGP protocols. Before creating a new one, we need to ask a question: what do we expect from it? So now, instead of having flexibility, allowing doing or not doing whatever you wish, we need technical rules that would ensure that BGP protection from static cycles. We need to have also from route leaks very good protection, embedded protection from route leaks. For that, we suggest to introduce 2 attributes. First is optional non-transit attribute, that is Very simple, and I'll explain you how it works. If we get an announce from a provider that we just put a flag when exporting, automatically filters should work in such a way that once we announce to the other provider or peer, so once this flag is there, so announce will not go there. Then it's enough to prevent route leaks and reminds the community. I hope you know what it is. And second is detecting route leaks. That one is smart. That's a catch. This is an optional transit attribute which equals to the number of autonomous system that gave it. So how does it? Simple example. We have autonomous system 2, AS2, the novice. There's no filters. He just copied his configuration, and there are two upper suppliers, AS2 and 3. AS1 announcing to AS2 would post this attribute and write the number. So AS2 knows nothing about it as a rule. Working with optional attributes is just doesn't touch it, doesn't rewrite, and just puts through. AS3 gets the client, the attribute checks that it does not match the neighbor number and filters or doesn't filter. But then the good question, on one hand, we can detect leaks, but then what to do with them? Filter. But filter you cannot because you create new problems. BGP by itself is a protocol very badly protected. I think you know. Changing transit attributes can any amateur on the way, any participant on the way. Once we filter, we create an opportunity for a rejection of service. So the one who changes the attributes can make many prefixes unavailable. I think it is a bad idea. So it's not filtering, but it's deprivatizing. It's logical because there are prefixes that allow us to make money or not to make money, but we always lose on route leaks. If we use the route leak way, we always lose money because this is a situation when our clients and network depend on other, crooked hands. And yeah, I'm sorry for this term, but route leak can be used if there is no alternative. We then solve a problem of someone using this attribute as a way to create a new attack. So we have new attributes. One to prevent leaks, the other to detect leaks. Good? No, because it is still, it depends on settings. Attributes are optional, but the problem of route leaks is a result of community are optional. Filters are optional. We need to ensure protection of route leaks automated. And that's why we introduce roles. Roles is reflection of your relations with other operators. Roles should become a compulsory, mandatory attribute. Without this attribute, BGP session should not get launched. So a role does not say it is correct if the role is there, but we want to control the role in the BGP neighbor. We use capabilities, open messages, to pass information to your neighbor about the role. So he will then check that the role he's getting correlates to his own in his settings. If it is wrong, it means that from a side, the setting is wrong, and notification would be sent. So the session would not start if the roles are not correlated. We have only 3 pairs of role. And there are also strict mode. What is that? By default, to keep a compatible reverse compatibility, so it's not true. If the neighbor does not send the role, there is no session. It will not. If there is no role, okay, no role, no check. And then, in strict mode, if the neighbor does not send the role, in open message then sends notification. How can it be useful? It can become an ideal mechanism of motivation. So we get a new client he doesn't understand anything about BGP, you say, we work with you in strict mode, and he will have to set up his session properly, addressing your issue and his issues. So, fixing your problem and his problem. So now we have everything. We have attributes allowing to fix the route leaks. We have roles that allow to set the attributes automatically, and we have control from the neighbor who allows to avoid problems, including the crooked hands, memory gaps, and so on. So let's look at the simple config. It's now 5 lines, not 4, but in our novice network, there are no more leaks. So what are the benefits? We fixed the leaks. It has reverse compatibility. Again, it's not the roles, it's not the attributes, will not give you any information about your business relations. You're not disclosing. You only disclose in open messages to your neighbor, who most probably knows. So the third parties are not getting this info. And the most important part is roles, because in fact, the application, the methods of application actually exceed route leaks by far. And that's how we see further development and roles. It's no secret that now there are many operators who have more than one autonomous system. It's a set of autonomous systems. And to have a common one network is very difficult, because BGP protocols now have different numbers, different non-transit attributes would not be transferred between them. Roles allow to describe to give a new way to describe the boundaries of operators that may include several autonomous systems. So with that, we can arrange the different numbers in case they believe the internal session, they would transmit non-transit attributes, including, and it will help to select the route by BGP, because external links are better than internal, be it eBGP or iBGP. The roles can be used as a predefined values of attributes. And we see here as well more far-fetched ideas where you can use for anti-spoofing, but that's murky yet. So what are we having now? We have bird routing. You can download and try, and most probably it should work properly. You understand that this is proof of concept stage, because attributes and numbers are still not received, and using them on production networks is not a good idea, because it may still change. We have a draft that has gone through the first run in ATF, and now we are going through adoption call. We hope it will pass. But we have to be realistic. ITF is a very good, proper organization, but very slow. We have been forewarned, and I will tell you that at the best case scenario, the way from draft to standard is several years. But it's the first step that starts you on the way. Thank you for your attention. My name is Victor, CVZ company. Well, I'm sure you haven't heard of it. So, are you working with vendors now, or will you work with them after you get the approval? Look, the process with vendors is outside of our scope. What are we doing? On one hand, we are showing that, yes, it works, we did it, and as a bird form, and bird is ready to accept as one. Well, it's not a vendor, but one of the most popular demons in the world, and Quagga potentially can do it, and vendors will start doing it only after it, because they will not start it early because it's money. They hate to spend money. At least you haven't involved them for they at least it's expressing their opinion. Look here, in my view, vendors. It's not that they buy hardware anyway. It's the operators who want it, and the response we are getting, the feedback from the tier 1 operators confirms that they will convince the vendors that they need it. And that's why vendors in the ITF working group, but they support, but participation in working group is not exactly kind of, vendors' wish. Yeah, my question, Konstantin, my name, and if with a client sends you with a role announce, so maybe it's special for some operator, how will you protect it from non-specifics if he come again? Some provider announces only /20, but not 24. So in the beginning, the definition of the route leak that we fight is route leak in case we get it from one provider or operator and send it to another one. So if they exist globally, so this vendor has an alternative, so more specific that does not appear. If the client starts breaking, just it not leak, it's a hijack, just breaking the networks and announce /24, the version will not happen. For that, tier BGP said that it's an originating issue. It's a different problem. But if we have the leak specifically, then the vendor, the transit that has an alternative route, and it will be privatized. It means that you invent RBKI. No. There is no connection here. It's BGP extension is the control of someone who announces the route. Route leak problem is a problem of direction of announcing, and region is right. But it is not announced in the right direction. But you say a person who knows nothing about BGP to connect and everything is up and running. So why do you believe the client? You mean you don't believe the client? Filter always his network. No, again, the question is, by default, if tomorrow there will be a new client who will connect to Rostelecom and Transtelecom network and get routes from them and starts announcing, transit, what will happen? He will be down. And he will drag down with him prefixes of and Transtelecom and Rostelecom and the client. That's the danger. But you need to filter on the base. No, again, yes, but it doesn't help always. And you need to understand that RIPE base, it's only European register. Not all registrars globally have such good bases, but accuracy of the RIPE base, I've said cannot be authorized, is quite a dubious question. Gennady, questions. One by one, please. And could you please specify the first attribute that you described? How is it different from the community export into local IS? It is very similar, but the difference is it would be delivered by roles. If we could do it as a community, but not to overlap with the current community realization, we decided to make it just a separate non-transit attribute. Have you thought, just an idea, if you do an extension for realization of protocol like BIRD, not as a change of protocol, but as a configuration new mode, where by default it will start new export or local IS into the incoming routes and so on. So it's like a non-protocol extension, but realization, so that the person does not have to think and nothing runs away. Yeah, thank you for the question, but you need to understand that's a protocol and realization, because how do you do community? They are now, because the user inputs something. So the idea is this attribute would be set up automatically based on the roles. The user should not have access to it, just like the user should not get into something else. But this is a GP, that's a different problem. I have, Lemon Alexander, I have a comment. PKI protects origin. Roles protect us pass, but only partially. I have a question. Sasha, in your speech, you said BGP sec several times, you mentioned, and you said that if your transit attribute will somehow be manipulated, it can be much bad. So are there any plans to integrate with BGP sec, and when? Integration with BGP sec is very difficult because it's something that does not exist yet. But there is an opportunity for that, because BGP sec has a flags element and elements like flags, and this external attribute like transit matches perfectly, fits perfect, because taking just one bit, it's all free. Megaphone, Evgeny. Do you think that this RFC will just complicate the life of poor clients who cannot even, make head or tail about standard attributes, and he will now have to study rules and no. The difference is that all he needs to build is a role, that's all. And his vendor will help him when something is wrong, will tell him, because the role is wrong, is wrongly set up. So this is the most important. Those new guys, novices, first the freshmen, the task becomes simpler, and they would be helped. I don't understand how I am, for instance, a freshman, and I set up a role. And your supplier, getting your role, will send you a notification with the words "wrong role." You are getting a notification, and from your the role is incorrect. It's much better than you have nothing, and then you are going to create troubles for everyone, including yourself. Short comment, last one. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are trying to make a Google Maps with BGP. Are you trying to make Google Car for BGP? Google Mobile, Google Car? No, I'm not trying. So, shall we? May I ask a question, Michael from Wimbledon? So, if you intend to have this new couple of capabilities, so to use the operator to those who connects anew to BGP and those who have propensity to give leaks. So would it be easier? Wouldn't it be easier to apply a filter? On one hand, yes, this is the simple way, but it is a temporary solution, and most important, it is good. You did it, and your neighbor, who is another supplier, has not done it. You will not accept it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I understand. But the way you follow and the way I just mentioned approximately are the same in terms of their approximately the labor intensive in the same way. So everyone will have to use your wonderful protocol, but the issues, this is a very narrow issue, will be created by freshmen, will be addressed. Or you just filter those who you connect, and you just the same. Yeah, I have to spend another minute, so I'll tell you. I'll tell how those novices, that they create the largest troubles, most of the troubles. And moreover, they can use this policy, apply just setting up filters for those global. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because you cannot disconnect from them. That's an issue that Azimov Telecom had for the last couple of years. So the clients could not disconnect because he would be getting this announced from one supplier to his clients and sent to another one. And building such sets in globally is very difficult and does not help. It helps only if the leak is not from prefixes, from the node, if it is from prefixes. Wow. So I think we have some other ideas that the audience will probably start a deeper discussion. Alexander is here. Approach him privately and talk one-on-one if you have additional questions and comments. Alexander didn't tell you about the scale. I did. Let's finish my presentation and good. Now we have a slight change in our agenda. Now we're going to have a lighting talk. We are going to have lighting talks.